were in those shoes, and not that Jesus is literally physically walking up and calling us to follow him, but when we were presented the gospel, like when I met Levi, and again, he didn't say, hey, follow Christ. He said, hey, you ever heard about these lizard people? But still, at some point, a conversation of the end, like, oh my gosh, I really wish
Revelations
there was.
is what we got into.
Yeah, well, I know Revelation, but I'm just saying. But either way, like, at some point along the way, it came up about, hey, let's we just Jesus and like everything that's going on in the world and how God's given him peace and what he's done for us and just so on and so forth. But so I feel like it's not a stretch to sit here and say, okay, let's compare whenever Christ first comes to us. Because yes, that's when Levi first really got me to dig deeply into Jesus. However, there was a time before that where I don't want to say make a deal, but just I asked God, I said, Lord, either I just say, forget about it, I'm just gonna go out on my own, empty the bank account, and just see how far I can go and where life takes me, or show me something right now. And in that moment, he showed me something, and by that, it was a phone call, whatever. I don't want to get into the whole, it's not my testimony right now, but either way, like in that moment, I acknowledged him, and there was a couple smaller, really I almost said insignificant, but they're very significant when God works. But either way, like small things like, Lord, if you do this, I'll stop questioning you, whatever, I'll fully follow you. And those things happen. So essentially, that's my moment where I'm like, okay, Jesus is there. And he's like, okay, come to me. You actually asked for me. I showed up. Now it's your turn to follow. And I did not follow as honorable. I did not follow as probably excitingly as these guys followed, and not as close. And but point is, I was on the path with him. We were pretty far apart, but we were going the same way. And so that was my beginning. But I'm just saying, I think it's such a big deal that like these lifelong fishermen, like, and I don't know